Hey guys, Alexander Williamson here with the secret history inside of your aquarium. Today I'm going to cover two quick tips. First of all, you may notice that this water is cloudy. That is because I have added some really fine sand, washed it off, and you can't just get it all off sometimes, especially with the finer sands and things like that. So it's a little murky as we speak right now because I'm re-hardscaping and replanting. I decided to go a little bit lower and to make the rock more of a monolith with almost like a jungle canopy that doesn't rise above the third tallest point in the tank. Now, the way I've done this, and it's a nice little trick if you ever have a foggy tank from something harmless, not bacteria or whatnot. Sometimes algae can do that too, and that's a different situation we'll cover in another video. But in this case, I took a charcoal filter media bag, and I draped it across where the sponge would normally go, or the charcoal filter that comes with this hang off the back, and that will help filter out the particulate matter. Then I'm running it on high speed. Now, the other little thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, and then I'll replace the filter. Also, be sure to put your batting or whatever you use for your beneficial bacteria, your biological filter, be sure to put that somewhere where it's not in chlorine or out of the water too long. I like to just put mine down in like another tank, and sometimes you can even just leave them in tanks, and so they're ready to go if you want to start up a new tank. But as it's escaping as I'm talking about it. So I've decided that since rock is such a prominent feature in this tank, that I will be doing a carpet and then, you know, some features, some red here and there, and a little bit of this and that in here, but it's mostly going to be a rock monolithic tank. And so because of that, I want to get all of the nitrogen and ammonia reducing properties that I can out of my plants. And so I have chosen to introduce some water lettuce here and also some red root floaters. And I really like the red root stuff. Ideally it grows slower, but ideally I would love to cap the whole tank off with that. I just think it would look nice. But in order to do this, you'll notice if you've ever kept floating plants before, that as they're establishing themselves before they figure out where they're going to kind of settle, a lot of times in a tank, the flow of the tank, there should be circulation if you have it set up properly, and it should loop around so there's no dead spots. And also my Aquascape, this layout is set up so it's central and not blocking the flow, which comes in here and then runs around into here, then comes back up, catches here, swirls around a bit, and heads that way. And it's good to know the flow of your tank because that will also help you know where to put hides for different fish and shrimp and things like that. But all I did to create this little log boom of sorts, or flotilla line to separate the floating plants. It's real simple. I just used a pocket knife, and I had some packing. Oh, that's addictive. The rest of this video might be me just doing this. Any case, so you use that, don't pop it all. Then you use some fishing line, run the fishing line through the center. You just fold that over the fishing line, and then either using more fishing line or thread, you just tie it off in two spots. I use little twist ties like you'd use for bread. That seems to work great. And then, so that floats just fine, and you can fit it to size however you want and anchor it in different points. You could run it across whatever way you want. But I've anchored it to these folder clips because then I can remove it easily too. But the issue I was finding was that it was floating well and the current was pulling it also. And the anchor points clearly aren't going to be down in your tank. They're going to be right above at the rim. And that means that it will have this weird angle of tension. And so to solve that, what I did is I got some they're actually bone beads. And so I got some bone beads. They happen to be deer bone, but they are fairly heavy, not super heavy, and I happen to know they're biologically safe in the tank, especially for a short-term thing like this. And they are anchoring down wherever I drop them. They are the anchor on either end, and then I can tie it off just to make sure it doesn't completely float away ever. So I hope these tips help you guys if you're trying to establish, and then as you see these floaters coming through from down below where they float back up, you just move them over. And it's not a bad thing to have a little bit of grass or stuff like that in here if you have any excess plant material. You can put that all in here, and then these plants, as you see, they start to kind of clump together into groups, and then they won't be able to move and get separated and all split up and then get all tarnished around the edges and melt. So hope that information helps you guys. I hope you're doing well. If you want to see how this tank's going and my new ancestris, it's a calico, as well as some shrimp and my tiger endlers and the ruby tetras that are in here. And then we're going to do a total overhaul on the replanting. We're going to keep it nice and low, and that's why we want to keep some greenery up top too in a planted tank. Then please subscribe, like, and if you want, there's all sorts of great rewards, including first dibs on different shrimp that I'm breeding, and cichlids, and all sorts of cool stuff. So have a good night, take care of yourselves, take care of your fish, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Keep on swimming.